Let's bring in West Australian law academic Rocco Loiacono. Rocco, welcome.
How are you, Fred?
Good to have you here, Rocco. Now, Mark McGowan managed to convince the people of Western Australia during COVID that he was, quote, keeping them safe. Do you think that impression will stand the test of time?
Look, once people review the COVID period, I think they'll see that, look, that really, once you scratch the surface beyond that, we're not safe at all. I mean, you mentioned we weren't kept safe at all from anything really other than common sense. I mean, you mentioned in your introduction about the tragic death of Ashwira, and that is just scratching the surface of the problems in the hospital system. The nurses in this state have been on strike on and off over the last 12 months in unprecedented industrial action over nurse-to-patient ratios, which are at record levels. You mentioned the ambulance ramping, but it's also other things are also declining in this state. We have a crime rate that's constantly increasing. We have police officers resigning in record numbers. The 2022 record beat the 2020 run record of police officers resigning. And the voice there that you showed of former Police Commissioner Chris Dawson, under whose watch the 2021 record was set, is now the state's governor. So you can also see that there's been a decline in accountability and the separation of powers. And speaking of accountability, we have a much vaunted Metronet rail system, which is 2 years behind schedule, billions of dollars over budget. We had a procurement of rapid antigen tests, which went close to $600 million, which is twice the amount that was spent on the redevelopment of Bunbury Hospital. So not only is accountability and the health system and the safety of West Australians in their own community going down the toilet, that generally transparency is down the gurgler too.
Rocco, there's a lot to unpack from that, but let's just talk about those rapid antigen tests. Did you say 600 million? What is that $600 million worth of tests that have been unused or something? What?
That's right. It was originally budgeted, the procurement of rapid antigen tests, for people coming into the state and whatnot, was initially budgeted at $3 million. And the Auditor General found in a report that had now gone to $580 million. And in shopping centres, workplaces and schools, these rats are being given away for free because they're about to expire. If they haven't expired already, they're useless. I'll just quote from the Auditor General's report. She said that never before had she witnessed such an escalation in the cost of a program over such a short time frame, occurring with a lack of due consideration of the impacts or without a record of anyone pausing to ask what level of procurement was sufficient and whether this had been achieved. And that report came out 2 weeks ago, absolutely damning.
So what does that say about the style of decision-making inside this government?
It says it's very bad. Mark McGowan came to office in 2017 promising gold standard transparency, and we've just seen gold standard stuff-ups time after time after time. 2 months ago, we had the scandal of the Perth Mint doping gold bullion and flogging it off to China, so filling it in with silver and passing it off as gold. And McGowan in Parliament was caught as just brushing it off as a storm in an effing teacup. And of course, he had to apologise for those comments. And not only that, we also have him thumbing his nose at petitions presented to Parliament asking for things like the advice he's received on The Voice. We had an emergency services minister who admitted that he didn't even look at the health advice before continually extending the COVID state of emergency. This is a level of complete lack of appropriateness and governance in the Westminster tradition that would probably be rivaled by Daniel Andrews.